Alright, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I'm here to talk about what is next for Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. To put things lightly, the Russell Wilson trade just has not worked out in Denver, even the slightest bit. The Broncos thought they were going to get a quarterback who could elevate a team, one that after the 2021 year looked like a younger, hungry unit, and it finally looked like they got the quarterback of the future in March that same offseason. And it looked like they were going to get out of QB purgatory, one that they have held on to since winning Super Bowl 50. And I loved this trade at the time. As a Broncos fan, I could not get enough of it. It was renowned by NFL circles. Anyone around then knows what I am talking about. But that trade, for a million different reasons, has been an absolute disaster for the Broncos and quite possibly the worst trade in the history of the league, which is really saying something. And some reasons why this trade have failed are, including but not limited to Russ being washed and clearly showing signs of his body not being able to support his play style anymore, along with not really having a super strong mental side of the game, at least now. And another side of why this trade failed is because this team does not have the talent we thought it did. The defense is full of replacement level guys. Melvin Gordon fell off a cliff after 2021. Javonte completely blew up his knee. And most of all, the receivers have been extremely underwhelming. Patrick has been hurt. Cortland isn't really a separator type, even though he experienced a really resurgent 2023. And it just hasn't come together for Judy at the next level. And KJ Hamler is a roster clogger who isn't even on the team anymore. And we went from so much hope to literally none over that. But the idea was that Russ was supposed to elevate the Broncos roster, but he hasn't been able to. In fact, he's kind of dragging this team down. And the season that told me more about Russell Wilson's career being over was this past one. I was willing to accept 2022 as a wash for Russell Wilson. And considering Nathaniel Hackett did one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history, and no, Sean Payton was not wrong in saying that, but I was banking on a bounce back year. I was excited about him in a Sean Payton offense. I was excited that he wasn't going to be given the keys to this car. I was excited that his quarterback coach, his masseuse, his chauffeur was not going to be allowed in the Bronco headquarters. And I was excited that he was going to be kept in check by a much more, not only conservative coach, but one who knows how to win as an NFL head coach. But that didn't come to fruition. Russ was awesome the first 4 games this year, but after that, the box score doesn't tell the full story. Sure, the stats look good, but most of Russ' production was just filled with deep balls Cortland Sutton. Drive to drive, this offense was anemic, and it was absolutely horrendous to watch. The run game was bad. The passing game couldn't get going for 99% of their drives. But they always, midseason, found a way to squeak wins out. And the lack of talent clearly shows in this team. And it speaks to how good of a coach Sean Payton is that this roster is lacking so much talent and depth in general that he was able to turn around a team that looked like it was destined for 2 to 3 wins after they lost 70-20 early on in the season in Miami. And he had them controlling their destiny for postseason football and finishing 1 game away from a losing record. And before Broncos fans get mad at me for talking about our lack of talent, let me just say one thing. We have 3 players on our team who are certified plus NFL players in Simmons, Surtain, and Miners. And sure, we have nice pieces like Mims, Benito, McMillan, and Browning, who I think has crazy upside. But our team is full of absolute jags otherwise, and that's what happens when you mortgage your future for a quarterback who you expect to be able to lead you to the promised land, and then overnight he just falls off a cliff, and you gave up 2 firsts and 2 seconds to get him, along with trading a first for your coach and another second for your coach. But back to Russ, that situation where it was reported that they wanted to cut him got really messy in the public eye, and I don't think it's as black and white as you'd think. I don't blame the Broncos for asking him to take a pay cut, nor do I blame Russ for saying no. Would you be willing to take a pay cut for your company to succeed? I mean, for me, I highly doubt it, but most players don't take one for the team. Look at Von Miller. He loved it in Denver, but he was still insulted at the idea of the pay cut, especially after he basically won the Super Bowl all by himself. And as fans, we feel like players should be team first, but this is a job to them. And I can't blame on Russ for passing on generational wealth, but I don't fault the Broncos for asking him for that pay cut either. He clearly wasn't performing. Still won't stop the NFL world for acting like Sean Payton is the devil for benching an underperforming quarterback who he made multiple adjustments to his system for. But all that being said, you came to this video for one answer and one answer only. What happens to Russell Wilson after this year? I mean, after this year is in a month from now when free agency and trades start up again. Here's the thing. It's a bad idea to keep Russell Wilson if you're the Denver Broncos. Philly had a hell of a cap situation with Wentz, or a cap hell situation with Wentz, and they turned it around quickly by ripping the Band-Aid off and cutting their losses. And the Rams had a similar issue with Goff on that squad, and yes, he was able to turn into a good quarterback, but still, they won a Super Bowl right after they traded him away on that embarrassing contract. And sure, we may look like idiots. We already do look like idiots for trading so much away and paying him and having this happen. But it's too late. You just need to rip the Band-Aid off, and you just need to start building towards the future. And I believe that the 2024 year should just be a complete rebuild. Sean Payton, you decide who gets traded. You decide who gets cut. This is your team, and this is your culture now. So where do I think Russell Wilson should land? I don't think he should stay with Denver. Two spots come to mind as far as where I want him to go. Because all this being said, I do care for Russ as a human being. I'm devastated that it didn't work out, but I'm more devastated that Russ the person couldn't give us what he has wanted to. Because I guarantee, with this team being horrendous over the past 2 years, with this offense not being able to get anything going since he arrived in Denver, I guarantee you no one feels worse about it than Russell Wilson. So where do I think he should go? I want him to go to the Steelers. Arthur Smith just got fired from Atlanta for criminal misuse of talent, and I want to see Arthur Smith try to replicate what he did in Tennessee. And sure, you don't have Derrick Henry going insane, but that's still a team with a decent bit of offensive talent. And I could see Russ, who's a great teammate and a savvy veteran leader, being a Tomlin guy, especially with that defense. Do I want him to go to Atlanta? No, absolutely not. I feel like that would just be wasting Bijan, Pitts, and London even more. And I want them to trade up for a quarterback. But overall, this is what I think should happen with Russell Wilson. Whether or not we keep him, that is completely up to the Broncos. And there is a chance that we do end up keeping him for one reason or another. But I think it's fractured beyond repair. I want him to revitalize his career somewhere else. I want him to supposedly hit that level of gas that we thought was still in the tank. And that does it for me. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.